I mean, here we can see the moments. Uh, okay. Now, what is the reality? Well, its reality is that I am back to my home in almost 5 hours earlier. Okay, see you in the moments. Salam Habibi, how are you? I hope you are fine. It is me, Michaela Samta, and welcome to you to my channels. Accordance with thumbnails and not thumbnails, accordance with titles. Yes, today we are roasting our most beautiful moments, Maulana Abu Toha Adnan roast. And now it is an roasting video, roasting live stream in the purpose of Islamic live streams. And now today I was watching a reels. What was the reels? Here I would mention. But now, first of all, here I would off the camera. Well, I off the momentums. Fans. And now, let's see what's happens. Uh, okay.
দুষ্ট অমুসলিম আছে যারা চায় না ইসলামী রাষ্ট্র ব্যবস্থা বা খেলাফত ব্যবস্থা আসুক, কিন্তু অথচ ইসলামী রাষ্ট্র ব্যবস্থা থাকলে অমুসলিমদের অধিকার সবচেয়ে আগে আমরা নিশ্চিত করবো ইনশাআল্লাহ। কারণ তারা আমাদের এখানে জিম্মেদারির মধ্যে থাকে।
Okay. Now here we can see this points. Here some people understands that here some non-Muslim understands that they would not like the Islamic rules in their country. Non-Muslim does not like the Islamic rules. But accordance with the statement of Maulana Abu Toha Adnans, here we watching the points that Maulana Abu Toha Adnan states here if Islamic rulers would be established, the non-Muslim rights would be secure. Okay. That means here we can see this points. What is the meaning of that? I do not know. Well, now here we can say, first of all, here I am understanding accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan, if okay. Now, if accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's statement, if Islamic rules would be established, here in Germany, Jewish scientist Albert Einstein's rights would be secure accordance with the statement of Maulana Abu Toha Adnan. But here we could see, here we know that what is the significance at this. Here we can see this points. What is the significant, disgusting moments? That it is the hypocrisy of Maulana Abu Toha Adnan. That she wants to mislead us from the real concept of Islamic rules. Where in Islamic rules, here we Jewish scientists could not be survived with our rights. Okay. Now here what we do here, we can do that. Here I demonstrate myself as a Jewish Saudi. Okay. Now nowadays I am living in Saudi Arabia. Here I can demonstrate myself as a Jewish Saudi. Okay. Now here we can see these points. Let's check it. Well, here is my Yachi. I apologize. Now is Riley private Yachi can be used in where? In Saudi Arabia. Okay, it's not a bad dose. Okay, now here we could see the sponge as in Saudi. Here is my departure is Jeddah, the city of Saudi Arabia, and where I can go to. Here I can go to Texas city from Texas provincial state of United States of America. Okay. Now let's check at the moments. What is the naval distance accordance with the routes? Here naval distance is 19,265.5 nautical miles. Okay. Now here we can see the points. Texas. The Jewish Saudi, can study in Texas University in United States of America. Okay. But here one point is University of Texas at Austin. Okay. Now here as a Jewish Saudi, I contains an Yachi that can travel 216,000 kilometer per second to travel here 19,265.5 nautical miles. Okay. Now let's check it. What is 19,265.5 nautical miles? That is 35,679 kilometers 706 meters. As a round figure, it is almost 36,000 kilometers. Okay. And now here is my points. What is 36,000 kilometers as the Israeli Yachi used by Jewish Saudi, where velocity is 216,000 kilometer per second. That is almost 0.167 seconds. Okay. Now what is the meaning of this? In this moment, here is just meaning of that. It is the significant meanings. The Jewish Saudi Michaela, can travel from Jeddah, the city of Saudi Arabia, at morning 6 o'clock, June 9, 2026, at the Saudi time zone, and at the same Saudi time zone, my arrival time would be morning 6 o'clock, 0.0167 second past, June 6, 2026. When I would travel Madagascar, southern sea beach of South Africa, I can travel the sea beach of Argentina. I can travel the sea beach of Brazil. I can travel the sea beach of Venezuela, and I can travel the sea beach of Mexico. Eastern sea beach of Mexico, and here I can enter the University of Texas as Austin, the city of Texas provincial state of United States of America. In the purpose of the studies in this momentums. Okay. Now let's focus on the statements. Here the focus on statement is accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's. Well, now here I could produce the points. Well, accordance with the statements of Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's, if Islamic rule would be established, here we Jewish scientific students' rights would be secure. But reality is different, and somehow reality is significantly opposite. Okay. Now here we can say this point. If we Jewish would live in Islamic countries like Saudi Arabia, because we are Jewish Saudi, in that point we have to pay a jizya tax. That means here our second god is, first god is of course here Adonai, but the second god is here Islamic rulers who disagree the existence of our god Adonai. Okay. Now let's come to the points that the scientific movements. Okay. Now here what is the studying in the Islamic country like Saudi Arabia? Here we can see the points as an Islamic country. We learn that what would be the velocity of light. The velocity of light is 33 kilometers per hour. Is the Islamic scientific study. Well, when we Jewish know here the real velocity of light is 300,000 kilometers per second in lieu of 33 kilometers per hour. Okay. And now let's check the moments. Here is the points. Now when we accept the Islamic rules in our country Saudi Arabia as a promise of Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's, well, I would focus on her. Well, now here I can focus on her. If I can accept the Islamic rules in Saudi Arabia according with the promise of Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's, here we have to learn that here we go. If we can travel our Yati with 72% velocity of light to travel 19,265.5 nautical miles to reach to University of Texas in United States of America. Here we requires almost 15 hours 10 minutes. Okay. Now let's check it. What is 15 hours? That is the significant momentums. Okay. And now here we can find out the scientific hours at the moment. It is 15 hours divided by 24. That is almost 63 days. 125. I mean 63.125 days. And now let's see. What is 0.125 days? That is here we can write that would be almost 3 hours. Well, now let's check the moments. Okay. Now here we can see, here is the significant calculations at the calendars. Well, what is today's calendars? Here June 9, 2026. Well, 63 days later, what would be the points? Okay. Now here we can, that would be almost 9 sum by 63 is 72. But here we can cover June, July, August. And now, in the combined of June and July, that would be 61 days. Now, what is 72 subtract by 61? That is 11. Okay. Now, here is the clear-cut points that when we can travel morning 6 o'clock, June 5, I apologize, June 9, 2026, our arrival time would be where? Here the arrival time would be here August 11, 2026, morning 9 o'clock, 10 minutes past. Okay. Now here we can see this points. In that momentums, here I would lost my 3 months. I would lost almost 2 months, 11 days, and from my study life when I want to study in University of Texas. Here is the points. In the scientific study purpose. Well, if we believe that we are traveling 72% velocity of light accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan. Okay. Now, let's check it. If Islamic rules would be established in Saudi Arabia, as we are Muslims, and I am a Jewish Saudi, but I would study in Islamic madrasas. But now, here we have to know, stay here, 72% of velocity of light would be 23.76 kilometer per hour. That means 23 kilometers 760 meters per hour is would be 72% velocity of light. Here that is the Islamic study. On the other hand, here the Jewish study, we know that here 72% velocity of light is 216,000 kilometer per hour. Now, as in Jewish study, if we can if an Jewish Saudi Yachi can travel with Yachi at the velocity of 216,000 kilometer per hour to be 72% velocity of light, then what is the travel time when travel distance is 19,265.5 nautical miles? That is the clear. So here the travel time would be 0.167 second. Now here we can see that is the momentums at points. Okay. Now let's consider the comparisons. Here comparisons is the significant points because without comparisons we could do nothing. Here comparison is here accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's Islamic study. Here when travel 72% of velocity of light is 23 kilometer 760 meter per hour. But according with Jewish study, according with Jewish school, 72% velocity of light is here 216,000 kilometer per second. Now where is 216,000 kilometer per second as a 72% velocity of light, and where is here 23 kilometers 760 meter per hour as a 72% velocity of light. It is the significant difference as we could notify. And now here difference is the significantly clear. Well, why I am saying that? That is the significant moments. And now so we discussed the 72% velocity of light as a velocity. Now when the travel distance is 19,265.5 nautical miles as a naval distance by Jewish Saudi Yachi, then what is the meaning of that? What is the meaning? 72% velocity of light as a travel time. Okay. Now here we can see the points. Here departure time is same on both sides. Morning 6 o'clock, June 9, 2026. Well, accordance with Islamic school operated by Maulana Toha Adnan, here 72% velocity of light is with the meaning to be here 2 months 11 days. Here arrival time would be here morning 9 o'clock 10 minutes past August 11, 2026. Where according with Jewish study, here here 72% of velocity of light means the here arrival time to be morning 6 o'clock 0.0167 second past June 6, 2026. Now when departure time is morning 6 o'clock June 9, 2026. Now where is arrival time to be morning 6 o'clock 0.167 past June 9, 2026, and where is arrival time to be morning 9 o'clock 10 minutes past August 11, 2026. And now here we can see the moments, that is the significant momentums at the points. Here when if Islamic rules would be established in our country at the promise of Maulana Toha Adnan, it is definitely here is the mentions that the points the Islamic rules here we can sure that here Islamic education system would be established in our country. And now here we can see the points in real life we can encounter the significant difficulty to study to the develop foreign education in the foreign country. Here we can encounter the difficulties. And now here we can miscalculate our velocity at the moments because according with Islamic school, here the light travel time from the sun to the earth would be what? That would be here fi- almost 500 years. Here we calculate that velocity of light would be 33 kilometer per hour. But what is the Jewish science? Here we can see the Jewish science states here the travel time of light from the sun star to Earth planet is 8 minutes. It because here travel distance is 8 light minutes. Okay. Now, what is 8 light minutes here? When in the travels of we can see the. Let me take a breath. The meanings or definitions of 8 light minute is with the velocity of light, a light can travel in 8 minutes. That is 8 light minutes. And now here is the points at the moment. Well, let's come to the points. What is the promise of Maulana Abu Toha Adnan? Here, according with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's promise, if Islamic rules would be established, here our Jewish students rights would be preserved. But now here we can see this Islamic rules Islamic education system is established in Saudi Arabia, and we could miscalculate the velocity of light to be the velocity of our Yachi to travel 19,265.5 nautical miles of naval distance to reach our foreign education. And now that is the significant problematics at the moment. Okay. Well, let's come to the points about what would happen with Albert Einstein, the honorable Jewish scientist, if Adolf Hitler would establish an Islamic educational system in Nazi Germany. Because here we could see these points. Christian communities and Jewish communities is just like a coexist moments. And now Islamic community always hate Jewish community. Hence, Adolf Hitler hates the Jewish community. Hence, we can say here Adolf Hitler can be a Muslim. Okay. Next, come to the point about the science and technological views. Well, what would happen if Albert Einstein would get here Islamic education system in Nazi Germany? In that point, when he would state, okay, now here we can see this is the moment, and here that would be the significant points. Well, now when Adolf Hitler could, I apologize, here when Albert Einstein could see Islamic education system in Nazi Germany, when he would prove that here velocity of light would be 300,000 kilometer per second, here he would be eliminated in which times? In 1939. In the calendar to be 1939. He would be eliminated. And here is the significant moments of points. Well, what about Marie Curie? Okay. Now, Mary Curie, Marie Curie. Okay. Now it is she, Marie Curie, the unveiling the life. Well, here we can see this much. Marie Curie's research is about uh, how can we generate a digital cloth watch with the support of radioactivity. Okay. Now let's come into the focus on the moments. Here, what would be the kinetic powers? Here I have discussed. Well, here I have discussed about what? Okay, I have discussed about Marie Curie. Well, I apologize. I have discussed about here velocity and travel time when I am a demonstrated Jewish Saudi student to study in University of Texas Provincial State of United States of America at Austin. And the purpose to be a scientific student. Okay. And now, here is the momentums and the points. The Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's the statement is here Jewish students' right would be preserved in the Islamic rules. But here I could see the Jewish students' right is to study is violating in the Islamic education system under the promise of Maulana Abu Toha Adnan. Okay, now let's take about the kinetic powers. Well, here I would mention the three kinetic powers methods. I apologize, that would be two kinetic powers methods. Okay, one kinetic powers method would be here Newtonian kinetic powers, and another kinetic powers would be method could be Albert Einsteinian kinetic powers. Okay, and here I mentioned is that points where Isaac Newton is a British Christian and Albert Einstein is an American Jew, German Jewish. And now let's take it one point. Albert Einstein is American citizen to be German Jewish scientist, and both of them is scientists at the best level. Okay, now let's take the points about kinetic powers. Well, in the Islamic Golden Era from 980 to 1200 AD, I mean 9th century to 12th century, here that we contest an Islamic Golden Era, and that is the problematic to be addressed as a medieval era according to Maulana Abu Toha Adnan, but still in this moment here Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's address this 300 as an Islamic Golden Era. I mean 400 as an Islamic Golden Era. But in Islamic Golden Eras, we could not calculate that how we can calculate a kinetic powers with a measurement of travel distance, travel time, and here our weights. When we can calculate here travel distance, kinetic powers with this following measurement in both of Christian method, scientist method, and the Jewish scientist method. First of all, let's take the Christian scientist method. Okay. accordance with Christian scientist method here to be kinetic force calculations, what is the equations of kinetic force? That is half of weight of Jewish Saudi Yachi multiple by here travel distance square divided by travel time cube. Okay. And in this case, we can calculate here the velocity would be 36,000 km per second, because it is easy to calculate the error between, this is the minimum error from Isaac Newton's kinetic force method. Okay. Now here we can see this points when travel time is 1 second, kinetic power is kinetic energy. Now let's take the ones naval distance what is naval distance? That is 98,265.5 nautical miles, and here I have mentions and here we can see it is the mentioned at moments. And now, okay, what is the nautical miles meanings? That meanings is almost 36,000 kilometers. Okay. Now here we can see this moments 36,000 kilo. Now let's check the points. What is meaning of 98,265.5 nautical miles? That is 36,000 kilometers. That means 36 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 meters. Okay. Now here we can see this points. What is 36 square? That is 1296. Okay. Now here is the moment. What is travel distance square? That is 1296 multiplied by 10 to the power 12 meter square. Okay. In this cases, here travel time is travel time cube equal to travel time square, because 1 square equal to 1 cube equal to 1 to the power 7 equal to 1 to the power 666 is always 1. Okay. Now let's check it. What is the heaviest yachi with Jewish Saudi contents? That is almost the complete weight is 120 tons. That means 12 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 kilograms. And what is half of weight of Saudi, Jewish Saudi yachi? That is 6 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 kilograms. Okay. And now here we can see this moments. Now here we can calculate at the points. 1296 multiplied by 6. Okay. Now here we can see that is the momentum. Well, what is the calculations of Jewish Saudi students Yachi's kinetic force? That is, calculation would be 6 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 multiplied by 1296 multiplied by 10 to the power 12. What is 12 sum by 4? That is 16. And here we can see this first. What is 1296 multiplied by 6? That is 7776. Okay. Now here Jewish Saudi students kinetic force as a calculation is there. As a Newtonian methods, we can say that would be 77.76 trillion megawatts. Okay. Now here is the calculation is over at the points. Well, 77.76 trillion megawatts. Okay, and now let's check it. Here is the magic. What about the Jewish scientist kinetic powers methods? None of them are Muslims. Okay, Jewish scientist kinetic powers methods we can state that is the significant moments. Here Albert Einsteinian kinetic powers equations for Jewish Saudi Iachis would be weight of Jewish Saudi Iachis multiplied by velocity of light square multiplied by bracket of lambda subtract by 1 bracket close divided by travel time. Okay, and now here what is lambda in the kinetic powers in Albert Einsteinian methods? Lambda is 1 divided by square root of bracket of 1 subtract by v square divided by c square enter bracket close. That is the equations of lambda. When we calculate here Albert Einsteinian kinetic powers methods. Okay. Now here we can see here we can mention the proper velocity, that would be 23,000. I apologize. 260,000 kilometer per second is the velocity of Jewish Saudi Iachi to be 72% velocity of light, as in Jewish studies. In this point, let's check it. What is the values of that? In the cases, value of lambda subtract by 1 is 0.440977. Okay. Now let's check it. What is the statistic energy of Jewish Saudi Iachis? That would be here we can say weight of Jewish Saudi Iachis would be 12 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 kilograms. And in this moment, 12 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 kilograms is the weight of complete weight of Jewish Saudi Iachis. What is the velocity of light? That is 3 multiplied by 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Hence, the velocity of light square is 9 multiplied by 10 to the power 16. Now, what is the calculations of statistic energy of Jewish Saudi Iachi? That is here we could see that is 12 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 multiplied by 9 multiplied by 10 to the power 6. That is here 100 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 multiplied by 10 to the power 16. Well, what is 16? Sum by 4, that is 20. Hence, the statistic energy is 108 multiplied by 10 to the power 20. Okay. Now, hence, what would be the calculations of kinetic powers of Jewish Saudi Iachis? That is, here we can find, 108 multiplied by 10 to the power 20 multiplied by 0.440977 multiplied by 1 divided by 0.167 seconds, because here proper travel time was 0.167 seconds. Okay. Now in this cases, here we can see these points. What is the calculation supposed to? Here bracket of 108 multiplied by 0.440977 divided by 0.167 enter bracket close multiplied by 10 to the power 20. But now here I think here I could not answer the proper list, but Here my calculators can answer. Okay. Here 108 multiple by 0.440977 divided by what? 0.167. Well, multiple by words 10 to the power 20. Okay, and now here we can see there is the points to be notified. Well, okay, now it is almost 28.519 quadrillion megawatts. Okay, now here we can see this funds. Well, here we can notify here travel times would be here. What is here kinetic powers at the moment? We can see here the kinetic powers would be 28.519 quadrillion megawatts. Okay. Now here we can see the here calculating some moments. Here we have mentioned two methods as an Christian scientist Isaac Newton method, and the second is Jewish scientist Albert Einstein methods. But now here we can see the moments. Let's come into the points. Here, Maulana, what is the moment at the we could see? Well, we could see that here, accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan, here she states here our Islam, our Jewish students' rights would be preserved if Islamic rules would be established on our Jewish society. That is the statements of Maulana Abu Toha Adnan. But let's come into the points. What is the reality? Okay. Now let's come into the points about the kinetic powers. Okay. But now here is the problems. What is 72% of velocity of light accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan? That is 23 kilometers 760 meter per hours. Okay. Now what is 23 kilometers 760 meters per hours? That is your significant problematics. 23 760 divided by words here 306 well it is 3600. Okay, that is almost 6.6. That means here we could mention that here 72% velocity of light accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's Islamic education is 6.6 meter per second. Where according with Jewish studies, here 72% of velocity of light is what is the moment? 260,000 kilometer per second. Now where is 6.6 meter per second and where is 260,000 kilometer per second? Now here we could see that is the proper scientific disturbing by Islamic education moments. And now here we could see these moments let's come into the points about the kinetic powers. Okay. Now here we can see that is the studies. Let's find out. Okay. Well, accordance with Isaac Newton's kinetic powers methods, the calculations would be 6 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 multiplied by 6.6 meter per second and a square. Okay, divided by what? Travel time cube. What is travel time cubes at the moment? Here, travel time is almost 1515. Okay, 1515 multiplied by 3600 seconds per hours. Okay, now let's check it. And here, now let's check it. Here is the significant points. Okay, that is here 0.162 picowatts. Okay. Now here is the momentums. That is the significant disturbance as we could see. Now here is the disturbance. What could I do? In this moment, well, when here 72% velocity of light is calculated by Islamic education systems. Hence, according with Isaac Newton kinetic powers method, here Jewish, well, what is the Jewish so the Yachis kinetic powers, that is 0.162 picowatts. Well, that is 0.162 picowatts. But according with Jewish education system, when Jewish Saudi students Yachi contents, they had study travel with Yachi's velocity to be 72% velocity of light. Here kinetic power is 28.52 quadrillion megawatts. Now where is 0.162 picowatts and where is 28.52 quadrillions megawatts? Now that is your significant momentums as just 2 accurate points. Well, it is error to maximum. Now let's take the error to minimums. Well, in Jewish education studies, where Jewish, so the student Yachi's study travel velocity would be 72% velocity of light with the kinetic parts, and here in Jewish studies the kinetic powers would be 58.51 quadrillion megawatts, and in Islamic studies the kinetic powers would be 0.162 picowatts. Then what is the credibility of Islamic education system? But iron is that here Maulana Abu Toha Adnan believes that if she would establish the Islamic rule in the Jewish Saudi society, Jewish Saudi students' rights would be preserved. In what is the credibility? Now, I think here our discussions would be here significant nonsense points as we could notify. And in this terms, well, accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan, the Jewish studies, the Jewish Saudi students would be in the responsibility of Islamic rulers. Okay. Now here we could see Islamic education system convert 28.51 quadrillion megawatt into 0.162 picowatts. Well, what a nonsense moments at the points we could see that is the significant clarifications, and it is almost a disgusting momentums at superiority. Okay, and now here we could say here I am demonstrate myself as a Jewish Saudi student. Well, in these cases, we know that there is no kafir in Saudi Arabia. If we consider Ahmadiyya and Shia as a Muslims, but now here I can consider myself as a Jewish Saudi because probably my father would be came to Saudi Arabia in the purpose of business, and would be born Jewish in Jeddah. In the significant points, in the simple points, I can be permitted Jewish Saudi. Okay, but now in this moment when Maulana Abu Toha Adnan cannot fulfill the responsibility of Jewish Saudi students' study life, well, there is kinetic power system in Islamic educational system is disturbed at the moment. Now here we can see here is the significant troubles as we could notify. Okay, now here let's check it. Okay, now here I am back to here full system, and now let's come to the points about Toha. Okay, now here we can see, well, just wait and watch. Han nuclear scientist. Here we can see this Toha nuclear scientist. Well, it is an pioneering German chemist. Okay, because of his nuclear science, now we are discussing about our Yachi travel times. Okay, now let's take at the moments at the points. Let's discuss the kinetic energy. Well, here we can see what would be the kinetic energies when we can contest the kinetic powers to be 28.519 quadrillion megawatts. Here 108 multiplied by 0.440977, and now that can be multiplied by what? 10 to the power 20. And here, what is the momentums at the points? Well, kinetic energy would be 4.762 5 double, I mean double 51 quadrillion megajoules as in kinetic energy. Okay. Now this can divided by here a fuel, where fuel would be artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiple by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. Hence, what can I calculate? Here, now, kinetic, specific it would be 15,408 joule per kilogram per kelvins. Okay. Now, what would be the points? That would be almost 6. I apologize. That is would be 4.65 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 652 kilograms of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. But now, well, now here Muslim education, I would discuss about the Muslim education system in lieu of Islamic education systems. Okay. Now here, where fuel would be petrols 4.762 double 1 multiplied by 10 to the power 21. Okay, now that can be divided by bracket of 100 multiplied by 0.778, because when fuel is petrol density is 0.778 kilogram per liters. Petrol specific heat is 2 joule per kilogram per kelvins, and temperature distance is 50 degrees Celsius as a harsh temperature difference. Okay. Now let's check at the moments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now it is almost 62,000 quadrillion liters of petrol is required for Jewish Saudi Yachis when fuel is petrol, and velocity is 72% velocity of light to be 260,000 km per second. But now let's check at the moments. What is the moment at the points? Well, 16.2 picogram divided by 10 to the power 15. Okay. Now, okay, it can be divided by watts. Now it would be here 100. Oh my Adonai, here temperature would be 8. Well, 8, and dense. Here would you can see that would be 1 humans. Well, now let's check it the moments. In this points, here calculation is the significantly disturbing at the momentums at the points. Okay, but now let's check it. Well, 0.8 as a petrol density Yes, kilogram per liters. Now let's check it. What is the points? 16.2 picograms is 16.2 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 15. Here divided by 100 would be 16.2 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 17. Well, now let's check it. We can calculate 16.2 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 16 divided by 8. That is what? That is here almost 8 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 16. Okay. According with Islamic calculations, here when here Maulana Abu Toha Adnan Islamic education system considers 6.6 meter per second as 72% velocity of light. In these cases, here as the calculations, it requires almost 8 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 15 liters of petrol. But what is the reality? Reality is simply at the opposite part of the Islamic educational calculations for Jewish Saudi studies, because in reality it requires almost 62,000 quadrillion liters of petrol, where fuel is petrol, and the real 72% velocity of light is almost 216,000 kilometer per second. Okay. Now here we can see, and now it is clear cut points, and we can feel the disturbance at the moments, but I would adjust. Well, here it is the difference between real education versus Islamic education. Well, in the first point. Now, second point says petrol is from the Jewish golden era. Well, now Maulana Abu Adnan accepts Islamic era, golden era as a golden era, but petrol is discovered in the Jewish golden era, and now petrol is the pride of Islamic petrol discovered by Jewish golden era. And in Jewish golden era, what is the discovered fuel to be here Jewish pride fuel? That is artificial solar arc reactor with a temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. Hence, here when we can contain 4.65 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 652 kilograms of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. That is the best Jewish era, and that is the best fuel as the Jewish pride fuel. But in the points is notified at the moments, Maulana Abu Adnan's Islamic educational system cannot support Jewish Saudi in here Saudi Arabian school. Then here our point is how Maulana Abu Adnan can promise here she would preserve the Jewish students' rights in with the Islamic educational system in place in Jewish Saudi students' country. And that is the significant problematic moments. Okay. And in this case, today I have discovered the first points as I have discovered as Jewish Saudi students as I demonstrate myself. And next last time I would demonstrate myself that here as a Jewish Afghan students, how can I crack the NEET exam 2026? See you then. Khuda Hafiz. Love you.